What's up, everybody? My name's Tyson, and today I am showing you the Blaupunkt Henri, or Henry, or however they say it. I don't know. Now, Blaupunkt actually makes three versions of this bike. There's the Henri, the Fienne, and the Fiette, but they're actually the exact same bike. They just are different colors. So we've got the Henri, which is this sort of a light slate gray and black frame. I love the design on this thing. Like, it's such a sleek looking bike. Very cool, kind of a zigzag lightning bolt shaped frame. Everything is color matched really well. The cast alloy rims look awesome. It's definitely a very eye-catching bike. Now, this is a micro folder, kind of right on the edge between the micro folder and just the standard size folding bike category. With these small 20-inch diameter wheels, it's definitely a pretty portable bike. Now, it does still weigh 47 pounds, so it's a little bit of weight to lug around if you're trying to carry this on the subway or something. It's maybe not ideal for that, but it does fold down. Very compact, very sturdy when it's in the folded position too, and it's surprisingly comfortable. That was probably the biggest surprise for me with this bike, is just how comfortable it is. Because if you look at how small it is, and me next to it, I'm a big 6'3" tall person, so and to be honest, folders like this are not my jam. I don't like these small folders. They're not a good fit for my size or my lifestyle. I like having a bike that can do a lot more, ride a lot farther. But for folks who are looking for something smaller that's very easy to store, this is a pretty fascinating bike. Now the frame here is magnesium alloy, and if you go to the Blaupunkt website, they're talking all about this. Magnesium alloy, it's awesome, it's lightweight, yada yada yada. So let's talk about magnesium. Magnesium frames have been in and out of popularity for bicycles for since like the 1980s. They someone will start using them for a while, and they die away, then they come back. Magnesium alloy is a lot lighter than aluminum alloy and has greater tensile strength, so that's definitely a plus. And it's also softer. It's not as rigid, so it's a vibration damping, which helps to make this more comfortable ride. But on the flip side, magnesium is a lot more expensive and difficult to manufacture, and so that means it costs more. And another downside is that it is prone to corrosion. This is a beautiful frame, and it is it's painted well. It's got protective paint on it that will prevent corrosion, but if you get scratches or chips, or live in an area where there's just a lot of natural corrosive stuff on the roads, maybe you live by the coast where there's a lot of salt, or even in mountain towns in the winter, if they're putting de-icer and salt on the roads all the time, it's gonna mess your bike up. And we're not gonna do very well in the weather here anyways, because these fenders are pretty limited in coverage. Half coverage-ish fenders that should do some decent protection for the rider, but the bike frame is going to get very dirty and wet if you are riding in bad weather. So not really a good fit for that. And so this magnesium alloy frame, while it is very cool, it makes the bike more expensive. These were, I think, originally retailing for $2,000, which is too much for what you get, in my opinion. They're down now to $1,600, which is still a little bit on the steep side, but still could be a good fit if this is the bike that you're looking for. Well, let's dive into it and talk about it here. In terms of cycling components, it's pretty basic. You've got a Shimano tourney setup. There's the derailleur back here. This is just 6 speeds too, so it's not going to go super fast. It'll climb hills pretty well. The motor's actually reasonably powerful, even though it's only 350 watts. I like that they have the the guard for the derailleur back here. You've got the plastic bash guard on the chain as well, so it's a decent setup. You've got the Shimano SIS Index thumb shifter up here. It is color matched, which looks really nice. And hydraulic disc brakes. Let's come around here so you can see those 160 millimeter rotors here. So that's actually pretty good stopping power for this bike. Usually I talk about how hydraulic is better, and it really is, but mechanical is still pretty solid. And for a bike that's this small, is really lightweight, and has a limited top speed, this is more than enough stopping power. Like, it's definitely going to get the job done. You've got some basic lights and stuff on here too. Headlight up front that is integrated, draws power from the main battery. It's actually pretty bright too, but that's about it. There's no turn signals, no tail light. They do normally come with a tail light you can install yourself, just on the seat post back here. My review unit didn't have one though, but those are pretty cheap to get. There is a horn too, buzzer style horn. It's actually pretty loud. We'll demo that for you when we get into the ride test portion. Let's talk electronics on here. All right, so this is a pretty lightweight platform. low power. It's a 350 watt hub motor back here in the rear wheel, and the battery is only 378 watt hour capacity. It's actually housed right here, which is very sleek design. Like, I love this integration. Super easy to remove too. I'll need the key. All right, so you just gotta put the key in here, unlock it. There's a nice little pull handle to get it out, and boom, there you go. So that's a pretty sweet setup. I really like that integration. A lot of folding e-bikes have the battery integrated somewhere in the down tube here, so you have to fold it first, and they can be really janky to get out. So this is a good setup. It's a good little cover that it's got for it as well. Let's get this popped back in here. There you go. Nice and secure. Now, it's a 36 volt system here, so it's not going to feel as powerful as, a 48 volt system would, and it is a limited capacity battery, motor, etc., but it's still more zippy than you would think. And the reason for that is that the wheels are only 20 inches in diameter. Since the motor is in the center of the wheel here, smaller diameter means a mechanical advantage for the motor, so it does still feel fairly zippy. Now, you've only got a top speed of 20 miles per hour, whether that's pedal assist or with the throttle. It makes this a class 2 electric bike. Now, you can unlock that in the display settings, but it's not really worth doing that. Because of the limited range of the pedaling drivetrain, you can't really pedal past 20 miles per hour, and it's just not powerful enough for electronics to push you past that. Maybe a couple, 2 or 3 miles past, but probably not worth it, and that's going to hurt your range too. So just keep it class 2 would definitely be my recommendation. I want to demo the folding now. I'm gonna have to pause the camera to do that, as it's really not a one-handed operation, but the stem does fold down, and then the center fold point right here, this is the the mechanism for it. We can pop that out, the bike will fold in half. I'm gonna get that folded down so I can show you that. All right, here we are, all folded up. This has a really small footprint. Like it folds down small. There's this magnetic latching mechanism in here that is very stable. It's actually hard to get it unattached with this folded down, so it's not going anywhere. It's balanced well, and actually pretty easy to maneuver too. Now, I left the saddle in here to move it around. If you were storing it and you needed to cut down the space even further, you could pop that out, but it's great to just grab it here and you can just roll it along on both wheels. Actually very easy to move. You can't go backwards because the pedals will lock up, but it's still very easy to get around. So I think the folding capabilities on this bike, like, this is very well designed. Most folding bikes are, kind of difficult to fold and still take up a lot of space, and they don't latch closed very well. They can be tough to balance or move around. So they really crushed it with this. And so if you're needing to carry it onto the bus or subway with you, if it's not too crowded with people, I could see that being realistic for this. And even just for, storing it away in your garage and, moving it around in there or in your small apartment or something, definitely works well for that. All right. I wanted to give you guys just a kind of a look to see, me sitting on it, just so you get an idea for the size. Now, remember, I'm 6'3", kind of way too big for this bike, but it still doesn't feel that bad. It's just like a slightly forward position here. I definitely can't, get my legs down to a full extension when I'm pedaling. So the pedaling isn't going to feel that great for me, but it feels pretty comfortable to sit on still. Like it's a well-built little cruiser. Let me fire on the display here. You just hold down the button in the center. Now, just like I like to do with every bike, we're going to start off in level 0, riding with no electric assist. I just want to see how it feels to ride like a bike, and this is also nice to know for, what if your battery runs out and you have to pedal it the rest of the way home, which is not unthinkable since it is a fairly small capacity battery. What are we in? We're in gear 3 here, and just to really make things interesting, we're starting out on the grass. Let's maybe shift all the way down to 1. All right, yeah, this is pretty easy to ride in first gear here. Even on the grass, going a little bit uphill. The derailleur was tuned perfectly out of the box, which was really nice. A lot of times I have to do a lot of fiddling with these things to get them ready to ride. All right, we'll shift up a couple speeds here. Very easy to pedal. I mean, we're already cruising at 11, 12 miles per hour. And this is easy, I'm not having to do any work to get up to or maintain this speed. So let's talk just a bit about ride comfort, because I've mentioned that this is more comfortable than the average micro folder I've tested. Micro folding bikes like this typically don't have any suspension, just because suspension weighs more and costs more. These are typically trying to be more low-cost bikes. So I'm riding on a fairly rough street here. This is one that I avoid riding on the street on, like my road bike or skateboard, longboard, that kind of a thing. It's rough pavement. It's got lots of bumps and potholes and stuff. And I can certainly feel the lack of suspension on this bike. Like it's fine. Like I can totally do this, and it's, I wouldn't avoid this street on this bike or anything. But compared to something with suspension on it, or with even bigger tires, there's definitely a difference. Now these tires have a fairly good amount of air in them. They are only 20 inches in diameter, but they're 2¼ inches wide, so they do a pretty good job. I think one thing that contributes to just the ride comfort of this bike is how durable and sturdy the frame is. Most micro folders have a lot of frame flex. There's rattling. You can feel the frame kind of bending and flexing weird when you're hitting bumps. I don't feel any of that on here. It's extremely durable. This magnesium alloy frame, like it feels fantastic. And I'm not going super fast here, but even at 20 miles per hour, I don't think it's gonna feel that bad. And I mean, check this out. I can ride no-handed, which is, I've never been able to do this on, a folding bike that's this small. Typically there's too much frame flex. They're very squirrely feeling. So I got to hand it to Blaupunkt. This is pretty well constructed bike. Feels good to ride on. Okay, but this thing has a motor and a battery, and I'm getting out of breath now from riding it around without the assist on. So let's kick this up. We're going to jump into level 1 first. We're gonna ride on a street with a bike lane here, so it's pretty safe. And I just want to see how the electric assist feels. It's a cadence sensor. Cadence sensors are not very responsive compared to a torque sensor. They just measure you cycling the pedals around. Doesn't matter how fast, doesn't matter how much pressure. It's just the same level of assist. So they're cheap, they're reliable, but they don't feel as good as a torque one. But this one feels like it's at least programmed pretty smoothly. We're cruising along at 11 miles per hour, which is the top speed for assist level 1, and it's very easy to ride now compared to earlier. Like I'm basically going the same speed, doing way less work, which is awesome. Let's kick this on up here. We'll see level 2. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks. Ooh, that's a fun scooter. So up here in level 2, we can get up to about 15 miles per hour top speed. I'm gonna have to shift up on my derailleur back here, and I'm already up in gear 5 out of 6 on the the pedaling drivetrain, the human powered side of things. So definitely not a bike built for speed. We've only got 1 more gear to go, and then I'm gonna not be able to pedal anymore because I'll be cycling too fast. I'm actually gonna bump it on up there to 6 now. This is probably honestly kind of the sweet spot for this bike. You keep it in gear 6, you can use the throttle to start out, and pedaling at the higher speeds feels good. Let's kick that on up here. Whoa. The massive bump of acceleration. Just kicking it on up to assist level 3, and we were up to 20 miles per hour in no time. So that's that mechanical advantage I was talking about for these hub motors and these very small diameter wheels. They feel a lot more powerful than they would on a large wheel bike. So here we are, we're cruising 20 miles per hour. This is as fast as you would want to go pedaling wise. Like I'm really cranking to maintain this speed. So it's definitely you could increase the limits in the display if you want to go 25 miles an hour, but you'd have to do that on the throttle. Like you can't really pedal much past 20. I do love just how stable this bike feels. I mean, this is awesome. Okay, we've got actually a bit of an uphill incline here, so this will be a good spot to let's see what the throttle can do with some serious work ahead of it. So we'll just stop all the way. We're in level 3, the highest one, and we'll just boom, hit the throttle. A little bit slow right off the start, but then the acceleration really starts to pick up. We're at 10 miles an hour already. Up to 15. Acceleration is definitely tapering off. We're still going. Now, if you look at the battery meter there, you can see it's down to like 80%. So that's the voltage sag that I was talking about, which is actually fairly common. it's, you know, when the battery's under load, the voltage reading coming off of it is not going to be as high, and so it looks like you suddenly lose a bunch of battery. Now there's different ways that they can measure and show the battery capacity so that it doesn't, you know, kind of hides the voltage sag, which would be better, because when it sags like this, it can give you some range anxiety, because you're like, oh, well, how much power do I actually have? I'm not sure. You know, if I'm sitting here stopped, it's at 100%, but then as soon as I'm going, it drops down. So, you know, just something to keep in mind with it. But, you know, you're probably not going to be doing long range rides on this thing anyways. We're going to do one more on the throttle. We're on the opposite side of our little loop here. Now we're going downhill, so we should get quite a bit more acceleration out of it. And it does indeed feel more zippy. we're already up to 15. Yeah, we can get up to that, you know, 20 mile per hour top speed on the throttle, no problem, at least, you know, on flat ground. Okay, we got a decently steep incline here. You know, here in Fort Collins, we don't have a whole lot of really steep hills, but this one's pretty decent. So we'll, I'm just gonna do the throttle again. You know, we are up in level 3, so I just wanna see what its hill climbing ability is like. Not pedaling along at all. And it's you know, a little bit slower here, but still it's picking up right on up the hill. Like, honestly, you know, these small wheels, yeah, this will climb hills pretty well, especially if you pedal along to help out. The brakes on here feel pretty good as well. Since I'm, you know, riding no-handed right now, I can't even use both of them. I'm just using the rear one, which is not the safest thing. You should definitely use both when you can, but, you know, even just stopping with the rear brake, I can still get down to a stop very quickly. Yeah, it feels good. You know, like I was saying, these are more than sufficient brakes for a bike of this size and weight, and, you know, considering its speed capabilities, it'll... Alrighty, my friends, so that is a wrap for this video. So thanks for coming along to check out the Blaupunkt Henri with me. I've honestly had a good time on this bike. Now, like I said at the beginning of this video, micro folders are just not my jam. They're not a good fit for my size or my lifestyle, and so while I wouldn't ever personally buy this bike, of all of the micro folders that I've tested, this one is the most comfortable. It's definitely the most well built, very durable construction. I love how it feels to ride on it, and even though it's got fairly basic components, I think it's definitely worth a look. Now, when these first came out, they were retailing at $2,000, which is just too much in my opinion. Like, you know, I know it's got the fancy magnesium alloy frame and all that, but it's just a lot of money for a bike that has a limited use capacity. They have gone down in price to $1,600, and you know, you can get them on sale cheaper other places, or maybe used. So you know, if you're looking for a micro folder, then this one is probably worth putting on your list. If you guys have questions or comments on this review, you know what to do. Chime in the comments section, and if you enjoyed this video, you know, like and subscribe. Stay tuned for my other reviews that I'll be doing in the future. You can also check in the description for a link to the full written review. I've got pictures, I've got specs, I've also aggregated reviews from other experts out there that you can check out. All right, guys, ride safe. Catch you in the next one.